The Sports Scouting Report with Lee Burkeen. Brought to you by Medines Collision Center in Baton Rouge. Take control, choose Medines. Grosse Savant Lodge, south of Lake Charles, the true sportsman's paradise. Treads and Care Company in Central, the tires you need, the service you want. Harvey Auto in Shreveport, Bossier City, the name you have trusted for years. And Gage in Baton Rouge. Get better connected with Gage. Here's your host, Lee Burkeen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lee Burkeen, your host of Sports Scouting Report podcast. I keep forgetting to say podcast. Man, I'm in a world I didn't even grow up in, but the podcast world's crazy. But we got a great guest today, Donnie Jones. Donnie Jones. It's not just LSU Donnie Jones, Catholic high school. He was a Bear at one time. I met him and his family back in the day before LSU, before the NFL. But we'll talk about all of that on today's show, and we want to make sure that you enjoy the show. Having a local guy on that's from Baton Rouge, the show goes statewide, and we'll be right back with much more of the Sports Scouting Report podcast.
Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you. If you need a paint job or repairs to your vehicle, go see Medines Collision Center located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Kincaid Avenue. The number to call is 357-7983. That's 357-7983. Your Baton Rouge Accident Advisors.
Welcome back, Lee Burkeen, your host of the Sports Scouting Report podcast. We've got Donnie Jones with us. We're going to try and get everything in one show for 30 minutes. It'll go by really quick. But all those LSU fans, especially the LSU fans that Donnie remembers, the diehards from, guys my age. I'm 52 years old. When I was 4 years old, I went to my first game in 1974, Donnie.
Wow. My
dad took me in, and I was like, look, Mike the Tiger. And I was like, Dad. And all that kind of stuck with me the rest of my life. And then seeing guys like you come up out of Catholic High, Baton Rouge, proud of you, by the way, and knowing you before all the LSU stuff happened and the NFL. But, man, life has just really went by quick, huh, Donnie?
Yeah, man. First off, thanks for having me. It's always good to see you. I feel you are the go-to guy for knowledge on these athletes that are coming out of school. And thinking back, 20 plus years ago when you and I first met, and the things you did to help promote me, it's something that I will always appreciate. But you're right, time flies by. And, it seems like just yesterday I was leaving Catholic High to go to LSU, and so many fond memories of my time in both of those places. And now I got a son at Catholic High who's a freshman, and he's on the freshman football team, so I'm excited to get to be a part of that with him.
Now Donnie gets to live the moments that his dad Don did with him. I mean,
absolutely
the good stress.
Yeah.
The emotions of a dad.
Well, growing up here in Baton Rouge, and remember my dad had an 88 Oldsmobile, and he had to tack the ceiling up with the thumbtacks. And we used to go to the games, and that's the car we'd go in most of the time, and always having a dream to be able to run out of that tunnel. And getting to live that dream was surreal. I mean, it was an unbelievable experience for me and the people I got to meet. Playing for Coach Saban for 4 years and getting to walk away at the end of my career with a national championship was truly special and something I'll never forget.
And had the last play in the game against Oklahoma, the punt, where the time had to run out. It had to be perfected right on time.
That was a wild play.
Want to mention to people with YouTube, I'm still learning, and I'm honest. Donnie will tell you, I'm still old school. So I didn't grow up. I think we just got YouTube 4 months ago, and we're growing with it, Nolan, our producer. But subscribe to YouTube. It's free. And then we gain and gain and gain, and we'll be, where we need to be really soon with our show. And also, if you have any likes about the show, talk to us. We're getting a bunch of them every week. We'll answer them, what you like about the show, what you don't like. But I want to talk to Donnie about going back, Donnie, to high school. your Catholic high days. I mean, that's where it all began, and St. Thomas More before that.
St. Thomas More.
Any memories of St. Thomas More prior to high school?
Man, that's going way back. I do remember, and I tell a lot of people, especially a lot of the parents I talk to with their kids and their kids that haven't really developed, or maybe they're a little bit behind. That was me. And when I was at St. Thomas More, I did not like a lot of things about football. I didn't like hitting. I didn't like getting hit. I didn't like sweating. I didn't like being out on the field in 100-degree weather. It was hard. I forgot where to line up, and I saw Pat Giblin, who was one of my old coaches, yesterday at the Folds of Honor tournament, and he, we laughed about he used to have to write on my shoe where I needed to line up. So, football for me was something that I wanted to do, to be with my friends, and I tell my son that today.
Yeah.
I didn't play a whole lot, so I kind of had the mop-up duty, I guess you would say, and one day they had punter and kicker tryouts, and I figured, you know what, let me give this a shot, because if I can do this really good, then I don't have to do any of that other stuff.
Yeah.
And I tried out, and I wasn't good enough, but I didn't let that stop me. I kept working, and I kept practicing, and I tell this story too. There was a tree in my parents' front yard, and I told myself if I can one day kick the ball over that tree, maybe I have a chance to play. And that day came, and like I said, I was a much later developer. And I never stopped working. And that's the thing I try to preach to my kids now, is that hard work. You got to continue to work. If there's something you want in life, you got to work. So did that, man, and then, went on to Catholic High, and, great experience. Played for Dale Weiner, who I believe they're naming the field after at Catholic, and that's a great accomplishment for him. He's a great football coach. He's a great man, and really cared about developing boys.
Yeah.
And can't say enough about Catholic High School and the things it did for me, and really helped me, grow from that boy into that man, and help prepare me for college and life beyond. So enjoyable to go back now, see the way the school has grown, the things that they've done, and excited that my son gets to be a part of it.
Have you seen that new weight room they have, Don?
It's amazing. 2 weight rooms. It's
amazing.
amazing.
Have that.
We had I tell my son, I think it's now where they go get their computers fixed, but I remember the weights were rusty and smelly, and yeah, man, it's,
Taj Mahal now to go over there.
It's pretty turf field, new bleachers they're putting up. First class place, it really is, and they got a first class coach in David Semino, and I've had an opportunity to meet with him a couple times, and just to see his passion for the game and his passion for developing successful men one day. And I think above all, winning games and everything, that to me means more, is developing the person.
Just like you, covering you when you were in high school, David Semino was a heck of a player at Parkview Baptist. He played at Parkview Baptist. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more of Donnie Jones. We'll be right back.
What does that bug man do?
Not only do we do pest control, we do odor control, bat removal, moisture control, rodents, and of course, bed bug control. Give the bug man a call. We get them before they get you.
Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours. Located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life.
Welcome back. Lee Burkeen, your host. Donnie Jones is our guest. We talk about Catholic High days, the Bears. Great program, by the way. Daniel Beal, young quarterback, he's got a great future. He's only a junior. Daniel Beal's a good player. They've got other good players. I was at their game last week and the week before, and had a chance to run into some older people that I know. I'll mention that with Donnie later in the show. But you always see guys on the sideline at games you get a chance to have a reunion with. But I want to mention that Donnie's recruiting days, I think parents would love to hear that from you, Donnie. But Jerry DiNardo was your recruiter. Most people think it was Saban.
Right.
But DiNardo's the one who signed you.
Yeah, Jerry DiNardo, and like we talked about a little bit earlier, LSU was kind of late to the game.
Yeah.
I had got an offer from University of Oklahoma, and that was when John Blake was the head coach. Remember going up to Norman to a football camp, and they saw me kick and offered a scholarship. Remember going out to dinner with John Blake and Norman, and man, Norman was a great college football town, and the people would come up to you in the restaurant. As a young kid, that was a really cool experience. But then LSU, I think it was the summer before my senior year. That was earlier in the year, Oklahoma, and then Bill Elias. I think it was actually Neil Weiner that had called me. Neil was working at the time at the football office.
Like grad assistant type deal or something?
I think so, and he was the one that called and reached out, and I guess they had talked and said that they wanted to offer me a scholarship. So, I owe a lot to Coach Donnie and his staff for thinking that much of me to invest a scholarship in me. And, like I said earlier, dream come true to get to play here. I didn't want to go anywhere else. This is, when you grow up here in this town, and you attend the games, with your dad, and you bleed purple and gold. And so this is where I wanted to be, even though after my senior year, Ohio State, who had already signed B.J. Sander or had offered him a scholarship, they were playing in the Sugar Bowl against A&M. And coach actually came to the park at the country club. And
your dad called me and was telling me that.
Yeah, it was wild, and he watched me kick there, and they also offered a scholarship. So then you go, John Cooper was a coach. Ohio State was a top 5 program at the time, but didn't want to go play in that weather. And
I remember your dad calling me saying, Lee, Ohio State came across with an offer, and that's when LSU, I remember, came in after that. But they had Tom Tupa and a few other ones prior to that.
Yeah, they had some good punters. Go through Ohio State. LSU as well. You talk about Chad Kessler when he was here and averaging over 50 yards. Work with him a little bit, but again, there was never a question about where I was going.
Yeah.
If LSU offered, I was going to go play for the Tigers.
What's funny, Donnie, is that we didn't have Twitter back then or Instagram and everything. Your dad called me and let me know. He didn't put it on the internet.
Not great. Yeah. They might have called you from a payphone.
Probably a payphone back then. Yeah, or
Those-
landline, where you actually had a landline.
That's it. Yeah. We don't have one.
Yeah. LSU days, national championship game, Oklahoma. A lot of people wanted me to ask you that. Obviously, it was a big moment in your life. And what was that like? I know, a lot of great players in that game. Went on in the NFL. Justin Vincent and Chad Lavallee won the Outland, and it was a great time at LSU, and you were a part of that, bringing it back.
I think to kind of encompass the whole thing of kind of where we started to where we were able to finish. Coming in with DiNardo, there was a lot of turmoil. He gets fired, Hal Hunter takes over, and then the next year when Saban came in, and if you ask Coach Moffitt, Tommy Moffitt, who's a strength coach to this day, and he's got a son that's actually coaching my son, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
But the hardest off-season program that he has ever been a part of as a strength coach, and I know it was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
But it really set the foundation for what we were going to accomplish over the next 4 years, and I see a lot of similarities. I have not met Coach Kelly yet, but between him and Nick, and our first year we were 8-4. We went to the Peach Bowl, lost to UAB, and then ended up winning the SEC the next year. And then in 2003, winning the national championship. So, really laying the foundation for everything the program has today. The academic center for athletes, the new operations center. So really being a part of building that and leaving here a champion was, it was a great moment.
I want to mention before we take a break, Rudy. I saw Rudy on the sideline. Rudy.
Yeah.
It's kind of not Rudy, the Notre Dame guy, but
he's the Calicut kicking expert.
Kicking
I think
expert.
Rudy's been there forever.
36 years. Crazy.
Really great guy, great supporter of Calicut football, and great person, and he cares a lot.
I got a tap on the back. He said, "You know who I am?" I said, "I didn't forget who you were. Come on, Rudy." We're going to take a break. When we come back, more. We're going to talk about where Donnie's loudest stadium was away from LSU. We know Tiger Stadium's loud, but and we're going to talk about the NFL, some of the coaches he played for, obviously Saban, but Chip Kelly and many other ones. Coach Peterson, we can go on and on. We'll be right back.
Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you. If you need a paint job or repairs to your vehicle, go see Medine's Collision Center located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Kincaid Avenue. The number to call is 357-7983. That's 357-7983. Your Baton Rouge Accident Advisors.
Welcome back. Lee Burkeen, your host of the Sports Scouting Report podcast. Be sure to subscribe to YouTube, the Sports Scouting Report. It is free. Help us grow. You know, we're getting there. We've got a lot of new subscribers. I want to thank Ron Sancho, our guest last week, former Tiger, All-American linebacker, All-Conference. Ron was talking about his Super Bowl experience, Donnie, with the Broncos in '90. And we're going way back. That's my senior year of high school.
32 years, man.
So
it's way back.
Ron's like, we shared a story with John Elway. And you would love this. He says, I'm a nobody with Denver. Like, he's a free agent on the team. John Elway's is, you know, everybody wants to interview John Elway, but the Super Bowl's in New Orleans. And when he get off the plane, everybody wants to talk to Ron because he's from New Orleans. And they ignored John. And John's like, wait a minute, Ron. What are you like? You're God here, man, from New Orleans. But your NFL career, you got the start. You needed. You were drafted by Seattle. Mike Holmgren used to be the head coach of Green Bay too. And then we talked about it off air, but your story from getting cut, and then tell everybody the Saban story, how you got to Miami. It's pretty neat story.
Yeah, well, I was drafted by Seattle, like you mentioned, and a lot of that was due in part to the Senior Bowl. I participated in the Senior Bowl, and I remember it was him and Bob Ferguson was the general manager, and they had seen me kick at one of the practices. And talk about the process of going from college to the NFL. Well, a lot of teams had come to work me out. Seattle special teams coach calls me, leaves me a voicemail and says, hey, I can't make it down there. Can you send me a tape? And I'm kind of going like, you know, this guy he doesn't think enough of me to, like, why should I make a tape? But I'm glad I made that tape because, you know, because they ended up drafting me. But, you know, yeah, getting the opportunity to play up there with him. I mean, he's a legendary coach. He's had so many wonderful coaches, you know, come from his coaching tree. And, you know, look, things didn't work out for me up there. Tom Ruin was the starter. He ends up getting hurt like 4 weeks in. So basically, I'm on practice squad. So they elevate me each Saturday, and I play, and then they cut me, and I go back to practice squad. So I did that for 5 weeks, and then week 6, the 6th week, Tom goes on IR, so I'm up, and we're playing Miami. We're playing the Dolphins, which is, you know, even makes the story more interesting. Well, you know, I have a terrible game, and I get booed out of the stadium.
Come on.
And, you know, I remember, you know, where things went bad. I hit the first punt good, and then my buddy from Purdue, Nico Kudavides, we're in the huddle, and the cheerleaders are up on the Jumbotron, and he goes, hey, Donnie, he's like, man, look at the cheerleaders. And I'm kind of going, man, like I'm trying to focus on this punt. Well, the next one I hit right over Mike Holmgren's head.
Oh, no.
And that started the cycle. But I remember, you know, Mike was a very intimidating guy.
Yeah.
And he always wore this Harley Davidson belt that he kept his headset on. He was a big motorcycle rider. So after the second one I hit over his head, you know, he runs over and he looks at me and he's like, do you know what your job is? And I said, yeah, yes, sir. He said, well, take your head out of your ass and punt the damn ball. So things didn't go well the rest of the day. And then I knew what was going to happen that next day. The pro personnel guy was waiting for me, and they released me, put me back on practice squad, and spent the rest of the year there. And then 2 days before training camp the following year, I get released. And, you know, my agent said, hey, you're in trouble. You know, rosters are set. The chances of you getting on a team now are not good. But so my wife and I, we're going, well, shoot, let's just start calling people, start, you know, interviewing for normal jobs. Yeah. And then she's the one that said, why don't you call Coach Saban, who had just taken the job in Miami? And called him, picked up the phone right away and said, hey, I don't even think I had a word in. He said, I know you were released. We're going to pick you up on Monday. And
you're like, oh.
Man, it was a relief. I was so excited. So we listened to that Going to Miami song. I don't know how long we listened to that, but, you know, really helped me continue my career. And I think as I look back, you know, in order to have a long career, you're going to have moments that aren't good, right? So in those moments, does another door open? And that was several times in my career that other doors open that enable me to continue and to keep playing.
Yeah, and I'm going to take a break. We got a little more I want to talk about the other teams. The Super Bowl, Donnie was able to experience the Super Bowl as a starting punter for the Eagles. We'll be right back.
What does that bug man do?
Not only do we do pest control, we do odor control, bat removal, moisture control, rodents, and of course, bed bug control. Give the bug man a call. We get them before they get you.
Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours. located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life.
Welcome back. Lee Burkeen, your host of the Sports Scouting Report podcast. Donnie Jones is our guest, and man, I love stories, and knowing Donnie when he was 17, 18 years old at Catholic High, and again, proud of him, and Amanda and Don Jones, his parents, getting to know them. Met his wife when they were dating. That's unbelievable. You got two kids.
Two kids, yeah.
Unbelievable. One in high school, one in grade 7, Episcopal and Catholic High.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Want to talk about the Super Bowl. We're going to talk more about the family, too, at the end of the show. But the Super Bowl, Donnie with the Eagles, had been a while for them. What was that like? That year was crazy. There was times where the team didn't seem like they were going to make the playoffs at one point, and then y'all got on a run, and just everything came together. And
that was a very special year, and remember signing in Philadelphia in 2013 under Chip Kelly brought me in, and getting to meet fans and talk to people up there, and everybody longed for a Super Bowl. That was a thing everybody kept telling me, hey, when are y'all going to win the Super Bowl? When are you going to win the Super Bowl? And I'm like, hey, I'm in the same boat like this. I'm going on year, I think I was year 10.
Yeah.
Said, I'd love to win one too before I finish,
Yeah.
But just understanding, the passion those people have up there.
Yeah.
And, look, 14 years it took me to play in one Super Bowl. And, the amount of time and work put in, the stress on yourself, on your family, all the sacrifices that were made to get one moment. And to be able to do it in Philadelphia, I think was just super special, because Philly is a great sports town. Yeah. And first and foremost, it's an Eagles town. And people love the Eagles. That was a special team. It was a special group. I don't remember another team that I think we lost 7 or 8 starters. And so backups filled those roles in the Super Bowl. And, the quarterback was one, the left tackle was one, the punt returner, we had a middle linebacker that was out. We had all these positions that were out, going against arguably the best coach quarterback combination to ever, be in the NFL, and Brady and Belichick, and Tom throws for over 500 yards, and we win that game. And I think it's a testament to team. And, you talk about what's a true team, and, people ask me, the 2017 Philadelphia Eagles were a true team. We had a coach that, he got so much disrespect during the season.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be there. He's a goofball.
Yeah.
He's a clown, all this stuff. And, all these things, where you continue to use as motivation, right?
Yeah.
But special group of guys, we will forever be remembered in Philadelphia. Go back today, and, people up there are just so passionate, man. Yeah. And wonderful place to play.
I never shared this with you as a friend, but I lived in Philly for a year, and I didn't have a choice because I didn't have the money to go to college. And my dad's like, you got to get a job. Either you go to college or you got to go get into something. So I said, let me take this ad with no-fault tennis courts. First job, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Wow. I'm living in Cheltenham. You remember Cheltenham?
I don't remember Cheltenham.
Cheltenham's kind of down by the Liberty Bell area.
Okay.
And I'm in this, apartment complex, hotel with all these Italian mafia guys. And I'm loving the Italian food. I love Italian food, and I'm loving it. It's cold, though. And I'm talking not their language. I'm like, where's your po' boys? They say, hoagie? And I said, where's these snowballs?
Yeah.
You're talking about Italian ice?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm in another country, but they were great. Like I said, they were tough people. I got the chance to go to Ron Jaworski's bar back then.
Jaws is a good guy.
Jaws. And I remember he said 1980s when the last time they went against Oakland was in New Orleans, the Super Bowl. And I watched that game. They lost to the Raiders with Jim Plunkett.
Wow.
We had the biggest face.
I don't remember any of that. That was
Kenny,
way before my time.
Right before you. But Kenny King was MVP there, running back. But I was happy for Philly being there like a year. But there's some tough, devoted people, like you said, in Philly. The Saints fans are very devoted. But Philadelphia, do they not pack it even when they're losing, Donnie? It's packed.
Yeah, the stadium's a great. It's a great environment. They play the Rocky theme before kickoff, it's just you get chills to play up there, and yeah, man, I think it really sunk in after we won the Super Bowl. I was flying to Orlando to meet. Of course, we went to Disney because everybody goes to Disney, and I sat next to this guy, and we got to talking, and he told me that his dad was a lifelong Eagles fan, and he passed away. But he said the next day, he took the paper, and he went to the graveyard, and he said, "Dad, we did it."
Whoa.
And I said, "Man," I said, these people love their Eagles. So
high five in Disney World, man. Made his life.
Disney was fun. Even though we've done Disney for like the last 10 years, man, I'm Disneyed out.
You're Disneyed out. We're gonna take a break. Come back. I want to talk about the Senior Bowl. Phillip Rivers. I know you bond a friendship with Phillip. Ended up playing your last season, and talk about how that came about because Donnie was retired, and Phillip helped play into his final season with the Chargers. I keep confusing. I want to say San Diego.
L.A. Chargers.
L.A. Chargers. And we'll be right back. We'll talk about that.
Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you. If you need a paint job or repairs to your vehicle, go see Medine's Collision Center located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Kincaid Avenue. The number to call is 357-7983. That's 357-7983. Your Baton Rouge Accident Advisors.
Welcome back. Lee Burkeen, your host of Sports Scouting Report podcast. Be sure to subscribe for free to YouTube. Just put in our name. And look, comments, man. I can handle bad comments with good comments. I remember watching the movie Elvis. I was a big Elvis fan growing up.
I watched that too. Yeah.
You watched that new movie?
I did. I liked it.
And I like
but
when
I don't know
the Colonel, his manager,
Yeah.
that scene in the living room when they were making like products for him, like I love Elvis.
Yeah.
And one was I hate Elvis. And the mom's like, wait a minute. And the grandma, what are you putting? He's like, well, somebody's going to not like it and they're going to buy it. But can take the good with the bad. And look, you dealt with that in the NFL. Like I said, you're not going to punt good every game.
Somebody finds something. You could have the best game, and there'd be somebody to find something negative. They didn't like, the shoe you were wearing or the way you had your hair cut. There's always somebody who can find something negative with what you do.
Eating a hot dog on the sideline or whatever.
But that's why everybody said don't read your press clippings, good or bad. And I read every single one. And yeah, people are mean, man.
It's like I want to go meet you at the subway or something.
People are mean. I got into it with several of the, Cleveland fans were bad, man. Oakland, not media, just fans.
Just fans.
Fans would say stupid stuff.
Who were the worst? Was it Oakland or Cleveland?
Oakland was bad. Cleveland, New England was bad.
Just getting at you.
And I say bad. I mean, look, they're all passionate, but to the opposing team, bad.
And these are grown-ups.
I remember we pulled into Oakland when they were in the Coliseum, right? And these 5-year-old kids are shooting you the bird, telling you can go, get, what? And I'm kind of going, like, we're looking going,
where's their dads at?
What is going on? Right next to them,
Say, go ahead, do it.
But,
he's like, I'm going to get that dad for doing Senior Bowl. Phillip Rivers, you share a bond with Phillip going back to Senior Bowl. You told me, ran into you, I think, at Burgersmith, you and your wife and kids. You were retired.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm done. Phone rings, actually, and you get a call. Tell everybody how that worked out. You said Phillip helped with getting you back in that final season.
Yeah, Phillip had a voice, obviously. He'd been there forever. I don't know how much he played into me actually getting there, but, that story in itself was extremely interesting. We would go to Burgersmith a lot, and the Chargers were always a late game. And I had decided after I retired, I said, let me take my name, let me just throw it back in the hat, see if there's anything out there. If not, we can just shut this thing down. So got a couple calls. The Steelers had actually called, and I told my agent that I wasn't interested in going up there and playing in
really
cold weather.
My Steelers?
No, I was good, man. I had enough of the cold. But it was about this time. Let's see, what's today? The 15th, 16th? So it was about this time. It was mid-October, and Aubrey and I were sitting having coffee, and it was still really hot here. And I pulled up the weather app on my phone and said, man, wouldn't it be nice to be in LA today? It was like 72, sunny. And the kids had been complaining that I didn't have enough Halloween stuff set up. So I'd gone to Home Depot. I bought some more Halloween decorations. I got the yard set up. And that was, of course, exhausting. So I laid down, I took a nap, and when I got up, I had a couple missed calls, and I had a missed text from my agent. He said, hey, call me.
Uh-oh.
So I'm thinking like, oh, man, it's the Steelers again, because their guy had been struggling, and got me on the phone. He said, no, it was the Chargers. And
you knew right away Philip was the quarterback, your friend.
Philip was a quarterback, and Caleb Sturgis was a kicker. Now, he had been struggling because the holder was bad. The guy they had apparently couldn't hold. And so I asked him, I said, do they want to sign me or they want me to work out? Because I told them I'm not going to do the workout. If somebody wants to sign me, I'll go. They said, no, they want to work you out, but it's only going to be you and one other guy. So kids got home from school, asked them, what do y'all want Dad to do? They said, we want you to go.
Whoa.
So flew out, packed a suitcase, and worked out. And I wasn't very good. And there was this other guy, Shane Tripucka, who he was still trying to make it, played at A&M. Yeah. So I'm sitting in the cafeteria after the workout. My agent calls me. He goes, well, I got good news and I got bad news. I said, okay. I said, let me have it. He goes, what do you want first? I said, I don't care. He said, well, the good news is they want to sign you. I said, okay, that's great. I said, what's the bad news? He said, the bad news is they want to put a split in your contract. And I said, explain to me what that is. He goes, well, if you play out the last, I think there was 14 games left or something, you're going to make X amount. Let's call it $800,000. If you get hurt, they're only going to pay you $400. I said, well, I was subbing at St. George. I said, well, they're paying me $60 a day, so I guess I'll take the deal. But look, that was really cool, yeah. And something a lot of people don't know. I started my career with the Chargers. They were the first NFL team I worked with at the Senior Bowl. Finished my career playing for the Chargers. It was great to be back with Philip. When I met him at the Senior Bowl, I think he had 3 or 4 kids. I think at that point he had like 14 or something. Big family, devout Catholic, great guy. From Alabama. Actually lives there now and coaches.
Played at North Carolina State.
Yes. But, so look, it was a good 3 months, got a free trip to London, and, we ended up losing to New England in the playoffs. Another interesting fact about my career, first NFL game I played at New England, last NFL game I ever played.
Come on.
At New England.
Wow.
So, but I hadn't trained.
Yeah.
I got brought in basically to hold for Caleb Sturgis, who we had worked together, and he was struggling. And
he played at Florida too, didn't he?
Played at Florida. I think it put more pressure on him that they brought me in, because 2 weeks later, and this is just goes to show you how crazy the NFL is. I come in for a workout. 2 or 3 weeks later, he's cut, and I'm at a workout working out other kickers. So, you want to talk about the stress?
Not for long.
Not for long.
NFL.
Not for long.
15 years though. You did
15.
a long time, Donnie.
15 was, was a blessing, and I think it's a testament to, working hard, never giving up, right? Overcoming adversity, and that's why I think football for these young kids to play is such a great sport, because it teaches you so many lessons that you can apply, later on in life. So
longest tenured Louisiana native ever in the NFL as a punter. Did you know that?
I did not.
You had the longest.
I mean, I figured I was up there. I was.
David
thinking,
Lee had 12 from the Colts. He was from Minden.
Okay.
So you had 3 more years.
Yeah, I figured I was probably up there.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, your final average was unbelievable, too, in the NFL. I'm going to get that from you off the break. I don't want to mess it up. I know it was over 44 at least. I mean, some crazy number for a punter for an average in the NFL. 40's phenomenal, but this guy was pushing way over that when he retired. But we'll be right back.
What does that bug man do?
Not only do we do pest control, we do odor control, bat removal, moisture control, rodents, and of course, bed bug control. Give the bug man a call. We get them before they get you.
Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life.
Welcome back. Lee Burkeen, your host of the Sports Scouting Report podcast. Getting a little Diet Coke in, the only one I drink of the week. Trying to wake up. I don't do coffee. I told Donnie that. Donnie's got his big old mug of water here with him.
You got to hydrate, man.
But not only that, people might want to know what your shirt means. Patriots Shootout.
Patriots Shootout. I participated in that yesterday. It was a golf tournament and supports military. their families and provides money to put kids through school. And I think now they're actually going to do first responders. So kind of the message yesterday was anybody who runs to the trouble, we want to support them. And look, those people sacrifice so much for us and for us to be free here that, any little thing we can do to give back and help them, it's a great cause.
Well, shout out to everybody that's ever been in the military. Thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
And our policemen, man.
Absolutely.
The hard work they do every day.
Police, EMS, man, that's a tough job.
Firefighters, everything.
Put their life on the line every day, and much love and respect to those people.
And even trainers. Donnie, you'd love this because you need trainers in NFL, college. They're big for you. Stringfellow at LSU and the people you had in the NFL, but we don't mention the trainers enough, and I want to give a shout out to all the trainers out there that keep these guys, going. But anything that sticks out on any of you trainers in the NFL?
Well, I think back to LSU. You mentioned Greg
Stringfellow.
Stringfellow. He's a good guy. The whole situation years ago. God, Greg's probably been in that role for over
Long time.
20 years now. When Jeff Boss passed away, and Greg really had big shoes to fill, and he did an outstanding job making sure that everybody had everything they needed on game day to be successful. And, a lot of people, forget about all the support staff and everything that goes into preparing, and equipment guys are one of those guys, especially the intern guys. Like when we were in Philadelphia, they didn't get paid a lot of money. And, we'd get in from a road trip. They stayed there all night at the facility to get everything washed and ready to go for us, the next week. The training staff, Jack Marucci and, when I was here, Shelly and Andy, the great job they did. I know Jack's getting into a lot of other stuff now. Has had a lot of success with Marucci, and but it takes a whole team, not just the players and coaches to be successful. So absolutely, those guys, tremendous amount of respect for what they do and the time they put in.
Thanks to all trainers, all support staff, like Donnie said. Want to talk about Ole Miss? So it's Ole Miss game week, home game. Lane Kiffin comes to Tiger Stadium. Whether you love him or hate him, he's a colorful guy. You played against Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And you said you got great memories of playing against Ole Miss. We're talking about at Ole Miss, Eli Manning.
Yeah, there were some great games. I think back to my first year playing under Nick, and we played at Ole Miss, and I was sick. I was extremely sick for the game. High fever. Had to get shots for the game. I was bad off, and I remember going into punt, and Deuce McAllister was a punt returner, and I remember seeing the snap, and then I remember it hitting right off my pads, and I picked it up, and I said, "Oh my goodness!" So I tried to kick it, and when I did, a guy pulled my shoulder pad, and the ball went straight up. Didn't cross the line of scrimmage. Damian James was our personal protector. He caught it and ran and almost got the first down, but a lot of history. I have a lot of memories from Ole Miss, LSU, deep history. That was for years was a storied rivalry. I think the 2003 game that we played there, Eli was a quarterback, really came down. I think it was the last series, and he ends up tripping over his center guard. And I think that game was to determine the SEC West. So, look, it should be a really good one Saturday, I would think. Should be a shootout. I'm excited about, seems like LSU now is kind of piecing some things together. Seems like they're kind of on the right path, and really it's just a matter of giving Coach Kelly time. Again, we talked a little bit about that, and the progression when I was here from Saban, and really building something. And I think long term, I think he's going to be a really great coach for LSU.
I want to mention that, Donnie, because before Kelly came in, it was a disaster. Everybody was like separated. The alumni, ex-players. You told me yourself. Now you're just now getting back to where Kelly's a great guy. He reminds you of Saban, like you told me. I like Kelly. He knows what he's doing. He's a team guy. He's worried about them going to class now. The prior guy did not. It just kind of got away from everything.
Well, I think in that position, and I think the thing that I see from him, and I have not met him. I'm actually getting to meet him tomorrow, so I look forward to that. But he seems to me like he's a very professional, very disciplined. A lot of the things that I remember when I played for Coach Saban. In that role, you have to have separation, right? You can't be the player's best buddy.
Right.
Going around, being around a little bit during the last 2 tenures, you didn't see any kind of like you mentioned, you'd go in the locker room and you'd see stuff thrown everywhere. You'd see guys that threw smoothies and hit the trash can. There was no discipline. There was no respect. It was And I was telling Greg, I go, man, this is acceptable.
Yeah.
Does this not get police from upstairs? Like,
yeah.
That's your role as a head coach, is to make sure these things, right? These players are doing what they're supposed to do, right? Because if they can't take care of their stuff off the field, how are you going to trust them on the field? So, like I said, I have not met him. I'm looking forward to meet him tomorrow, but he just really, I see him as a guy who's extremely professional, who cares a lot about what he does. You're not going to see him going into UCLA and talking trash to the
Flipping
fans, or saying something stupid and then going in there and getting your ass kicked. You're not going to see that from him, right? You're going to see professional. You're going to see a guy who's disciplined and expects that from his players. And like I said, I really feel good. They signed him to a 10-year deal. I feel he's going to have a lot of success here, over those years. So I look forward to watching to see what he's able to build.
Donnie, we talked about your two kids and your wife. We got to give her a plug, man. She's been there with you the whole time.
Yeah, she's been, from way back. We dated starting in 99, July 99, got married in 05. And, look, she's been a single mom a lot. And a lot of people don't understand all the sacrifices that go in, from the wife's perspective, from the kids' perspective. The Super Bowl year, I was gone for 7 months and lived away. I lived in a hotel for till Thanksgiving.
People
and
don't understand that. Yeah.
No, so there's there's a reason that they pay you a lot. It's a high pressure, high stress environment, and as your kids get older, there's separation, because believe it or not, the teams don't want to let you know you're going to be their guy. They'll make you go down to the last possible second, and then they go, oh well, hey, guess what? You're our guy. Well, by that time, school's already started, so the teams are worried about the teams at the end of the day, and the teams want to win games. And as long as you can help them win games, they value you. If not, it's
just like Ron Sancho told me the other day. And Garland Jean-Baptiste is a retired FBI agent who blocked for Dalton Hilliard back in the day. He said, and you would relate to this. He said, I asked him, I said, who do you talk to from the NFL now? They're like, not many people. He said, both of them were told by the NFL management, don't get close to anybody. We don't know if your locker room is going to be here tomorrow. But you were able to do 15. You retired with a 45.4 average, which is in the top 10 all-time NFL punting. Phenomenal job. Proud of you. Glad that you're here every day. Your kids, Episcopal, Catholic high.
Full-time dad.
That's what I do.
Yes.
Having you here. And I want to plug him. Hall of Fame one day. Ray Guy got in, my favorite punter. He's my favorite punter now. But Ray Guy, when I was growing up with Oakland Raiders, not your favorite fans, not mine either, but Ray broke the mold to get into Canton, Ohio as a punter, and now it's opening the future for other punters.
Yeah, he's phenomenal career, but look, what these young guys are doing now, man, it's impressive. The year-round training, they're coming from Australia. The Australian guys, the different kicks. The punting game is really evolved, and I think it will continue to do that. It will be more competitive, and I don't know that you will see, I could be wrong, I don't know that you'll see as many guys have super long careers because of how competitive it is and because of teams trying to save a buck. When you got to pay the quarterback $20 million and your receivers $15 million, and you got to cut in other places. So, look, I'm glad I was able to play, get those years in, be a part in my football career of a national championship and a Super Bowl, and, to have those memories and moments and to use all the lessons that I learned to, help my son, help my daughter, because again, the lessons that I learned playing the game are life lessons.
Yeah. Appreciate Donnie being on. Thank you, man.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. Always good to see you.
Appreciate Donnie Jones being a part of the show. Look, got to keep up with his boy coming up at Catholic. He's a ninth grader, and
he's goofy. He's goofy like me.
Like you early.
He's got some developing to do, but I told him, I said, you got to be patient. He gets frustrated, but he's a good kid. He had straight A's, which I was really impressed. I never made straight A's at Catholic. He actually has one of my old teachers, English teacher,
really?
Miss Heron, who
okay.
I made a C in her class, and she always says, well, no, you earned that C, and Weston got an A. So I told her, I said, see, man,
look at that.
You beat Dad.
Well, got it from Mom, too, huh? Mom's a great student from Ash.
Yeah, I think she was a great student. I'm not sure. She'd probably get mad at me if I said she wasn't, but both my kids are good kids, and that's what I tell them. Look, be good people, work hard, do the right things, and good things will come your way.
Appreciate Donnie Jones joining us today. He's busy. Appreciate him taking the time to be with us. And look, next week we're going to have a big recruit on. We're also going to have this Friday Catholic High twins joining us. They're linemen, the Johnson brothers.
Okay, wow,
They're
great.
both 270, over 6'1". I think they're in the 300-pound range, both of them. But they're twins, seniors at Catholic High. They're going to join us Friday next week. We got some big shows coming up. Some former LSU Tigers joining us. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll see you on Friday.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Burkeen.